Shalom Aleichem to everybody. Grace and peace be upon you. Welcome to my channel. I'm Apostle Hephzivah and welcome to another in our Living Higher series. This week we are going to wrap our discussion on jealousy, and I have subtitled this week's discussion, If You Have It, Don't Flaunt It. The world teaches us that if we have it, we're to flaunt it. Everything that we have is supposed to be on public display so that others can see how blessed we are and how successful we are, and that others would want to imitate us. What we're going to learn this week is that Judaism teaches that that is not a good idea. If you have it, you really shouldn't flaunt it, because flaunting what you have can lead others to become envious and jealous of us, and that can lead to others resenting us, or even worse, seeking to harm us. We see where people have been hurt physically because they have basically flaunted what they have, and someone else out there thinks that they shouldn't have it and they go after them. So this week, I pray that our discussion will be a blessing to you and that you will benefit from a little bit of Jewish wisdom as we look at this week's discussion. We're going to get right into it, and I want to share with you from Parsha Miketz, that is found in Bereshit chapter 42. We're going to read from verse 1 through to 4. It says, Jacob perceived that there was provisions in Egypt. So Jacob said to his sons, Why do you make yourselves conspicuous? And he said, Behold, I have heard that there are provisions in Egypt. Go down there and purchase for us from there, that we may live and not die. So Joseph's brothers, 10 of them, went down to buy grain from Egypt. Now, if we were to look at verse 1, it says, Jacob said to his sons, Why do you make yourselves conspicuous? What does that mean? What was Jacob saying to his sons? Well, in a nutshell, famine was everywhere. However, Jacob and his sons had food. And he was saying to his sons, everybody is going down to Egypt to get grain. The fact that you are sitting here and you are not going down to Egypt also, you are making yourselves conspicuous. People will know that we have food, and that's not such a good idea. And I want to read for you a little bit from the commentary here. It says, Why do you show yourselves as having plenty to eat? That's what the statement means. Why do you make yourselves conspicuous? It says, such behavior will lead to envy and ill will on the part of the families of Ishmael and Esau. And that's what we read in Tanait 10b, according to Rashi. It says, do not travel with food in your hands, lest you cause ill feelings. And do not at all enter Egypt through one gate for fear of the evil eye. For someone might feel envy that one man should be blessed with 10 such sons, according to the Midrash. So Yaakov was saying to his sons, do not let it be conspicuous that we have food over here. We have to be wise, because Ishmael and Esau will realize that we have food. And Ishmael and Esau is really just speaking to the descendants of Ishmael and Esau, which really were enemies of Israel. Okay? And so Yaakov was saying, we don't want to put ourselves out there like that, because people will recognize that we have, and they will come after us. And this reminds me of Yeshua's statements to his disciples. You know, he said to them, while you are in this world, you need to be as wise as serpents and as harmless as doves. We need to employ wisdom in this world. And so it is for this reason why in Jewish thought and in Jewish culture, it is not advisable for people to flaunt what they have. With that said, I want us to get over into our resource material, and we are going to see what we're being taught over here. It says, since we have all experienced the pain and harm wrought by jealousy, we need to be careful not to cause others to envy us. Our sages expressed this in a prayer, and this is what the prayer says in part. May it be your will that no person be jealous of me, and that I not be jealous of others. We need to pray that Hashem would help us overcome the tendency toward jealousy that resides in us, and that we don't cause others to envy us. And a lot of times people want to put their things out there. They want to show and broadcast everything that they have, because especially in the church, you know, there is this idea that the more you have is a reflection of just how much God is blessing you. And so people make an effort to broadcast everything that they have. Even when they don't have much, the little that they have, they still have to broadcast it, and they still have to pretend, and they still have to act as if they have it, and as if their ministry is thriving and their family is blessed, and all of these different things, because the more that you have is associated with God blessing you. Today we are learning that we have to be wise. Let's continue. It says, to avoid igniting jealousy in others, we must refrain from flaunting our material wealth or spiritual accomplishments, whether through our words or through our actions. It is also worthwhile to consider before buying an item how this purchase may affect others. Whenever possible, we should avoid hurting people by causing them the pain of jealousy. So in Jewish thought, it is said that every person has a tendency within them to feel jealous or to experience jealousy, okay? And because each person is his brother's keeper, right? So we're all our brother's keeper. And because we know this, we really shouldn't go out of our way to make other people feel jealous, okay? We really shouldn't go out of our way to flaunt things so that others can be jealous, because experiencing that level of envy and so on is actually going against Torah, because Torah tells us do not covet. So because we know that we're our brother's keeper, we want to make sure that we don't put our brothers in a position where they end up breaking the Torah, all because we want to feel good about ourselves. Okay, so it says, whenever possible, we should avoid hurting people by causing them the pain of jealousy. Let's continue. Besides causing pain and harm to our friends, flaunting what we have causes harm to ourselves, for it causes others to resent us. It also invites ayin hara, which is called the evil eye. Ayin hara, which happens when people begrudge another person's gifts, spurring the heavenly court to examine or to re-examine whether the person is indeed deserving of what he has. Listen, take note of this. The sages say that when people put what they have out there, right, it invites the evil eye, or ayin hara. And when that happens, it spurs a reaction in heaven. And the heavenly court sits to re-examine whether or not the person is indeed deserving of what he has. In other words, the person is not being a good steward of what he has, and he is using what he has to lead other people astray. This is powerful stuff here. It says, Rabbeinu Yonah writes in Avot 2:11, if a person covets what his friend has, vapor rises from those thoughts and burns the items upon which the ayin hara was placed upon. I want to break this down for you, and I want you to listen to this very, very carefully. When we put what we have out there, and someone begins to envy us, okay? There is a vapor, so this is spiritual now. There is a spiritual vapor that rises from that individual's thoughts and rests upon the item that he is envious of and burns that item in the spirit. In other words, an individual's evil thoughts can harm us because thoughts become things, and the thoughts that arise from another person's envy can bring harm to us or to our possessions. Have you ever noticed that you can be in a room with someone else and they are jealous or envious of you, and you can actually feel it? You feel it. They haven't said it to you. They haven't acted any way differently towards you. They're not acting differently towards you, but you can feel the envy coming at you. Why? Because thoughts are things in the spiritual realm. And if someone has an envious thought that is geared towards you, it can actually harm you, and it can also affect your material possessions. This is why, in an effort to protect you and to protect what you have, it's important that you don't flaunt it. Let me show you guys, let me share with you a quick story. I had a tree in my yard that bloomed beautiful white flowers. And I thought it was just such a beautiful tree. And one day I took a picture of that tree and put it on social media. I was not being boastful about it. I just thought it was beautiful. And I took a picture of it and I said, from my garden. And can I just tell you that in 2 weeks, caterpillars ate that tree right down to nothing. The tree had to be chopped down because some huge caterpillars attacked that tree. And so I share that with you to say, we have to be wise. Not everything that God is doing in our lives, we need to let everybody else know. And some things are to be kept under wraps because they can cause harm to us and to the things that Hashem has blessed us with. And as the sages say, if we are not good stewards of what God blesses us with, it will spur the heavenly courts to re-examine who are indeed deserving of what we have been entrusted with. So let's look at some pointers as to how we can avoid or limit others envying us. Number 1, before mentioning your success in front of another person, think carefully whether that person will be happy for your success or jealous of it. You should be particularly careful when talking about your success in an area in which your friend is lacking. For instance, you should not speak about your children before a person who does not have children, nor should you discuss your children's successes before a person who is experiencing difficulties with his children or whose children have strayed from the path of the Torah. Heaven forbid. So you have to be sensitive to other people. other people's issues and so on, and other people's challenges. And there are some things that you don't need to share with someone else. If you know that someone is struggling in an area, they're going through a very rough time financially, but you just got a huge bonus, or you just got a huge promotion where you're going to be earning more, and so on and so forth, that's not necessarily something that you should share. Actually, that's not something you should share, because that is going to cause the other person to feel jealous, and you really shouldn't. You have children, and someone else is probably struggling with infertility. You don't go and be boasting about your 10 children while someone else over there is struggling and would love to have a child, and they're going through a difficult time. So we have to be sensitive to the feelings of others. It says, often a person is totally unaware of the pain he causes others simply by sharing his own achievements with them. If they are struggling with life in general, it can be painful for them to hear of another person's success. We know ourselves how we feel when people brag, even inadvertently, about what they have. Let's look at point number 2. Rabbi Shimon Moshe Handelsman suggests that we can learn from a teaching in the Gemara that says that the children or the descendants of Yosef, the evil eye has no power over them. Why? Because the Torah says that the children of Yosef will proliferate abundantly like fish within the land. And so fish live underwater, and so they are protected by the water. And so the Gemara teaches that descendants of Yosef, the evil eye or envy has no power over them because they are covered underwater. What is the meaning of this Gemara? This Gemara is telling us that in order to escape the evil eye, we should be like fish, meaning that we should hide our successes, cover them underwater in order to prevent others from envying us. In this way, we will follow the directive that we find in Micah chapter 6 verse 8. And I just want to read this for you. Micah chapter 6 verse 8 says, "He has showed you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." So when we are wise and when we cover our successes, we are fulfilling Micah 6:8, which is to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly before our God. We need to be humble people. There's nothing wrong with people not knowing that you're blessed. There's nothing wrong with people not knowing what you have. There's nothing wrong with people thinking that nothing is going on for you. Nothing is wrong with that, There is absolutely nothing wrong for people to say, boy, I don't even know what's going on in that person's life because I don't see them posting anything. Let's look at point number 3. Another important strategy for precluding people from envying us is to use our gifts to benefit others. According to the Orchas Zadakim, a person who uses what he has to help others will be beloved to people, and they will therefore not envy him nor covet what he has. People, this is ancient Jewish wisdom. Listen to it. It says that if you use what you have to help others, people will be less prone to be envious of you, because they know that what you have, you are willing to share with others, and that they too can benefit from what you have. It says, secondly, the feeling of envy nearly always involves the sentiment that I don't want the other person to have what he has. When a person benefits from his friend's success, he cannot possibly want his friend to lose what he has, because he recognizes that his friend's success is his own success. Therefore, if Hashem blessed a person with wealth, he should try to use his money to benefit others, both rich and poor, as the Orchas Zadakim advises. Similarly, someone who has merited to become a great Torah scholar should teach Torah to others so that they can benefit from his wisdom, which will mitigate their envy of him. Likewise, a person who is considered prestigious should always accord respect to others and give them encouragement, for then they will not be jealous of him. After all, they benefit from his prestige since they enjoy receiving honor from someone who is held in high esteem. They will also think to themselves that if this distinguished person recognizes how important they are, he must be a wise person and worthy of receiving public honor. The same is true regarding all areas in which a person might be gifted or blessed. He should do his utmost to share those blessings with others. In conclusion, if we recognize that we are all spiritual guarantors for one another, meaning that we're all our brother's keeper, and all interconnected like the various limbs of one body, there is no room for envy with regard to spiritual growth. We all comprise one harmonious unit and are partners in each other's success. Similarly, in worldly matters, if a person truly cares about others and desires their happiness, he cannot possibly feel envy, for his friend's joy is his joy and his friend's success is his success. We have to learn how to live in this world. We're all trying to allow the Spirit of Hashem to work on the inside of us, right? But we also have to recognize that while we live in this world, we have to be cognizant of human nature and not put ourselves out there so that others can envy us, because envy can lead to other things. Envy leads to even murder. And so we have to protect ourselves, protect our families, protect our possessions, and we also have to remember that we are our brother's keeper, and we shouldn't dangle things in front of other people without care of how they may feel about it. And the same is true with our spiritual walk and our spiritual journey, I believe that there is a place where we can share our experience, share our journey, because by sharing, we are encouraging others, we're encouraging other people in their own walk. But there comes a time when oversharing is not advisable, because sometimes we can share our journey and it makes other people feel badly about themselves. Okay, it can affect other people negatively, and it can turn around and affect us negatively also. So we need to be cognizant of those things. It says here, may Hashem enable us to overcome the midah of jealousy and rejoice in the unique portion he has granted us, so that we can achieve true perfection in both this world and the next. And this is where we are going to bring our discussion to a close for this week. When we come next week, we will begin a new journey, and we are going to be journeying into the world of anger. We're going to be looking at the midah, or the trait of anger. I pray that our discussion this evening has been a blessing to you. Do remember to like this video and to share it on your social media platforms, and also encourage others to become part of our online community. Until we meet again, I'm Apostle Hephzivah. Shalom, shalom, and kol tov.